How to Manifest by Lord Chung. Day 4. Connect to a higher power. We undertake certain spiritual practices to achieve alignment with the creative energy of the universe. Julia Cameron, The Artist's Way. Doing the work is not easy. In this section, we are going to be looking at the parts of you that have been abandoned, lost, and repressed. Before we even begin, thank yourself for getting to this point and acknowledge that it can be difficult, but it is worth it, and you will see the results as you take the next steps to manifest your dreams. During the darkest times of my life, the one constant I have always had is a connection and relationship to a higher power that I personally call God. I've done enough reprogramming to reclaim that word back from my Christian upbringing. But if there is a term that feels right to you, you should feel free to use it. Some people call it higher intelligence, source, or something else. It's up to you to pick a name for that guiding, protective power. Just recently, my mom told me that the only person who loves you unconditionally is God. So according to her, not even your own mother can love you the way that you need to feel loved. I had already come to this conclusion myself, but to hear my devout Christian mother say that out loud was a profound turning point in my spiritual journey. I realized that nobody and nothing can fill the void inside of you. Please remember this: humans are beautiful, chaotic, hot messes, and another human cannot complete you, unlike the lie we were sold in Jerry Maguire. I had to find wholeness and safety within myself and find security within me. I've manifested some amazing things in my life, but they never filled that void. All of those things just made me feel emptier. It was my own self and my relationship with a higher power that ultimately made me feel whole. This is a spiritual path because you are expanding your awareness. As Don Miguel Ruiz writes in the 4 Agreements, awareness is always the first step because if you are not aware, there is nothing you can change. Humans are gifted with the ability to expand our consciousness through intention, which directly expands our awareness. You can't change what you don't know, right? You have the capacity to think independently of your current circumstances. Let me redefine think for you. Your logical and intellectual mind will tell you all the reasons why you're living in a not so ideal home, that you need a new job because yours is terrible and soul sucking, that your relationships are somehow lacking, and on and on. If you think that way, inevitably you will look around and your observations will reconfirm what your mind is thinking. However, we have the ability to raise our awareness above and beyond our current circumstances through visioning, intentions, and our connection to a higher power. That is why this is all about healing our belief in lack. By doing that, we are shifting our perspective. If your worthiness and happiness are contingent on outward material things like how much money you have or how big your house is, you will never be full. The material realm is temporal and, quite frankly, an illusion. I want to be clear that it's our right as human beings to enjoy material things, but your happiness should not be attached to material gains, or you will never really fill that void and achieve more than superficial happiness, which can't, by definition, last. Manifestation is bringing your ideas into physical form. A big component of that is your belief system and your ability to feel abundant, that you can have a limitless number of ideas and that you will have an unending ability to pursue them. But how do you feel that way when your physical reality is not what you want it to be? When you are broke, have no friends, and are living with the bare minimum? That is why a true understanding of our being is necessary to fully understand who you are as a spiritual being in human form. Your divine birthright is abundance. It's a constant refrain in most major spiritual texts. But maybe you've heard people say this kind of stuff, and then you look around at your apartment and bank statement and say to yourself, seriously, how can I be divinely abundant when I can barely pay my bills? I believe this kind of response stems from collective programming and economic interests that want to keep us feeling unstable. But it's also our individual beliefs. We will talk more about confronting our own beliefs in the coming weeks, but this is me reminding you that the ability to manifest and be the co-creator of your life is your birthright. It's a power and an ability that everyone has, even if you may not be feeling it yet. Manifestation is a process of co-creating with the universe. Being in a 50-50 partnership with a higher power is much easier than relying on yourself. Connecting to this higher power will not only help you feel the flow of creativity, it will also help you to remember who you really are. When you make this connection, you will realize that you are not only a part of this universal consciousness, you are it. You are an instrument of universal power. It moves through you and can only be expressed by you. At the end of The Wizard of Oz, Glinda the Good Witch tells Dorothy that she had the power to travel home the whole time. This is the lesson of every hero's journey. They go off on a great adventure to seek the truth, only to find out that they had the wisdom within them the whole time. Just assume you can and believe you can. Surround yourself with people who also believe and who have expansive minds, because that is going to make manifesting your dreams a whole lot easier. Cultivate a spiritual practice where you can tap into this infinite energy all day, every day. When we rely on our own abilities, it's very limiting. As individual humans, we can only see so far. A higher power has a zoomed out vision, can experience multiple timelines, and live simultaneously in many different realities. So we can trust that this force knows what's best for us. For those of you who do not have a religious affiliation or have no previous spiritual practice, this is a great time to connect to a higher power. I usually recommend Mother Earth, the universe, or Source. All these entities are non-denominational. They are open to your definition. When you are meditating, you will be calling upon this higher power for guidance and support. This is the incantation I usually use. Dear spirit guides, ancient ancestors, angels, and archangels from the highest realms, for the good of all involved. In many Western understandings of spirituality, God is way out there somewhere and humans are separate from the divine. God or spirit is something that is outside of us. Based on what I've learned through my studies of Eastern spiritual tradition, I believe God is within us and all around us. I believe that God moves through us. This higher power uses us as vessels, which is why manifestation should be second nature to us. Our job is to connect to this higher power so that divinity can flow through us with right action. It is our innate power to create and destroy, and these are the two sides of the same sword.